Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here, and the Shaman nerfs, they are here, or they're at least almost here. They are coming today. They were announced late last night, and this is the nerf package. 4 cards are going to be changed. You will be able to disenchant these cards for their full arcane dust value if you so choose, although most of these are probably somewhat playable still anyway, so maybe you don't even want to do that. Anyway, Corrupt Elementalist, mana cost up from 5 to 6, Sludge Slurper, a surprise nerf, attack down from 2 to 1, Faithless Corruptor, a surprisingly small nerf, attack from 5 to 4, and Mogu Flesh Shaper, cost from 7 mana to 9 mana. So what does all of this mean? Well, Sludge Slurper is a core card in every Shaman deck, so this is a general nerf, a small but general nerf to Shaman overall. Sludge Slurper attack going from 2 to 1 means that it's going to be less effective at trading away stuff early on, including its synergy with a Rush Lackey and then doing a trade. Just a little bit slowing down the Shaman early game. Corrupt Elementalist, a key card in Galagrund Shaman, that double invoke that just enables your Dragon packs, enables your Galagrund from 5 mana to 6 mana. So it will be more difficult. You can't, for example, coin this into then playing Dragon's back on next turn on curve. When it costs 6 mana, you can still play this on 6 and play Galagrund on curve on 7, so that's still possible, but it slows down the Shaman just a little bit. Otherwise the effect is unchanged. Mogu Flesh Shaper going from 7 mana to 9 mana, so it will be much more difficult to get Mogu on the board, and this has lots of interesting implications. When Mogu goes to 9 mana, that means that if you do get your Mogu on the board, you can then mutate your Mogu into a 10-drop. And then the worst case scenario is a 5-5, and everything else is an 8-8 or a 4-12 or something like that. Or maybe a 10-10 with Divine Shield and Reborn. Who knows? So the mutate's evolve effects on Mogu are going to be better than before, but on the other hand Mogu is more difficult to get on the board. Mutate was basically run for Mogu in the Shaman deck, also a little bit for Corrupt Elementalist. Those are the main targets. So Corrupt Elementalist is of course going to still see play in Galagrund Shaman. You really want the double invoke. But are you going to run the Mogu and the Mutate package alongside? Maybe, maybe not. If you're going to cut the Mogu, you're probably cutting the Mutate too, because then Mutate doesn't have that many good targets. That would free 4 slots for the deck, so there's still things that the deck could do then. Like, how favorably does Mogu even compare to something like a Sea Giant afterwards? It's only 1 mana cheaper. It does have the rush, so if it can value trade and then with Mutate, then it's pretty good. But other than that, it's hard to say what the overall result will be. But assuming that Shaman keeps the same deck, then Shaman is a little bit slower. Shaman value was not touched at all. Shaman has all the same value. It has those 8-8s, and then the 8-8s come again, and if it's a quest variant, then there's so many 8-8s. Shaman still has tons and tons of threats, but it's just a little bit slower. So the overall effect of this nerf means that phase decks, aggro decks, are going to have a better time against Shaman, but then slower decks, the real control decks that have good control tools, we're thinking Twisting Nethers, Brawls, Plagues of Wrath, some actual hard removal. Those decks will have more time to find their key pieces and get to their mana cost, and be able to remove the Shaman boards. But then we have these sorts of control decks that have finite resources to remove things. Thinking about something like Highland Mage. Highland Mage just doesn't remove big stuff that effectively, especially if it comes in multiple copies. And that kind of control decks are still not going to be able to beat Shaman, because even if Shaman is a little bit slower, they still don't get to their win condition, and they still can't answer all the threats that Shaman can push out. So specific control decks will have more of a game against Shaman, but the main benefactor of these nerfs is aggro. When you're being aggressive, you can just kill Shaman fast. You don't have to worry about all the value Shaman has, because you're able to just kill them. And then there's one nerf that can even benefit Shaman a little bit, the Faceless Corruptor nerf, from 5 attack to down to 4 attack. So this can no longer kill a Shield of Galagrund, which can be useful for all sorts of Galagrund decks. It cannot kill something like a big old whelp. There are some dragons that it cannot kill now, so there's a bunch of decks that can benefit from Faceless Corruptor not being able to trade the minions with just one of the Faceless Corruptor tokens. But on the other hand, Faceless Corruptor looks like it's still going to be really, really strong. What does all of this mean for the meta? In order to evaluate what it means for the meta, we could take a look at, okay, so what does the meta look like at the moment? And of course we have Galagrund Shaman, which is killing people left and right. And decks that are weak against Galagrund Shaman, but good against much of the other stuff, can benefit from these changes. Assuming that the weakness to Galagrund Shaman is because they cannot answer the tempo of the Galagrund Shaman. Something like Highlander Mage. It's unfavored against Galagrund Shaman, but it's not very fast either, and it also doesn't have a lot of hard removal tools, so Galagrund Shaman is probably still going to be favored against Highlander Mage. Highlander Mage is not going to benefit that much from these types of nerfs, because they don't touch Galagrund Shaman's ability to pump out big minions. Whereas then we have decks like Pirate Warrior, which is not doing very well against Galagrund Shaman, but Pirate Warrior is fast. And when Galagrund Shaman becomes slower, that means that Pirate Warrior can hit face, and Pirate Warrior can end the game before Galagrund Shaman has a chance to respond properly. And the same applies to something like a Zoo Warlock. Zoo Warlock can also do more things against Galagrund Shaman now, because it can be fast. And then something like a Galagrund Priest should also benefit from Galagrund Shaman's weakness, because Galagrund Priest can have tons and tons of removal, so it has more time to find that removal and just kill all the threats, when Galagrund Shaman can't pressure it as quickly. But so if you look at the top decks here, most popular decks, then like Highlander Mage, things are looking dire for Highlander Mage. The Galagrund Shaman's nerf is not going to help it that much. It's terrible against Face Hunter, it's already terrible against Death Rattle Rogue, it's terrible against Pirate Warrior. Life is not good. Then we have the second most popular deck really after Galagrund Shaman, which has been the Face Hunter. And Face Hunter is already doing a decent job against Galagrund Shaman, so it doesn't benefit that much from Galagrund Shaman being nerfed. Quite the contrary, in fact. With Pirate Warrior getting a big buff to its weakest matchup by far, that means that Pirate Warrior can come and fight against Face Hunters. Pirate Warrior can also come and fight against Death Rattle Rogues. The biggest benefactor of these nerfs is Pirate Warrior, because Pirate Warrior can now have a field day against other aggressive decks. And that means tough times for some combo decks like Holy Rat Paladin. Holy Rat Paladin's main ticket to fame has been its good matchup against Shaman, and that matchup is getting even better. But also Holy Rat Paladin versus Face Hunter versus Death Rattle Rogue versus Pirate Warrior, not that good. And with Shaman becoming a little weaker, expecting rise in Pirate Warrior numbers especially, probably also Death Rattle Rogue numbers, then Holy Rat Paladin is going to face a lot of pressure. With Shaman being slower and aggro decks coming in to challenge it even more, I also expect to see some rise of real control decks. Control decks that can hard remove things. Not Highlander Mage, but we're talking about stuff like Control Warrior, for example, which can have a good matchup against Pirate Warrior, against Face Hunter. Its matchup against Shaman is going to be even better. Then Death Rattle Rogue kind of remains the problem for that. So then we have these aggro decks that kill the Rogue decks and the Shaman decks, and then we have these control decks that kill the aggro decks, but they in turn lose at least to the Rogue deck. So we might be coming towards this sort of rock, paper, scissors meta. But I expect the biggest beneficiary of these nerfs to be Pirate Warrior, and then also control decks with hard removal are going to be a little bit more playable. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.